What is up, 1320 fans? Welcome back to the podcast, Talkin Shift. Me and the boys just got back from Maryland. It's one of the biggest and probably one of our favorite events we cover all year. This year was no different. Bunch of records, bunch of personal bests. We did have some wrecks, bunch of oil down, stuff like that. We're going to talk about mainly World Cup finals coming at you this whole episode. And we're going to hop in with the quickest and fastest car on the property, Mr. Jimmy Taylor, with his 7,000 horsepower Pro Mod. That thing was wild to see. He was shooting for fours all weekend. Didn't quite get a four, but he did take home the door car record with a 511, which is just wild.
That's insane. 7,000 horsepower is not a number you hear. Like, we're going around the pits, and over the years it's evolved. You hear higher numbers. You're like, okay. Nowadays it's like you hear 2,000 or 3,000 horsepower. You're like, okay, that's a lot. Like, that's a pretty quick car. And then you hear like 4,000 or 5,000. You're like, okay, so you're pretty special. And then you hear 7. You're like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, when it jumps up a few thousand like that, because we're used to hearing pro mods like twin turbo Hemi, stuff like that, stuff that we go to. They're like 3,500, 4,000 horsepower. We're used to hearing those numbers. When he said it's between 7 and 7,200, I was like, I said, what the fuck? I was in shock, and I was like, obviously that's the reason why they're going for the door car record. They didn't quite hit the fours, which is what the whole goal was. I think the record previous was a 514, and he hit a 511, which obviously takes home the door car record. But I thought we were going to see a 4-second door car, which that's just wild to even think about, that a car, I don't care how Outlaw was, I don't care how light the car was, 4 seconds in a door car is just the craziest thing.
I want to know what year the top fuel NHRA cars got into the threes, because they were running, I know it wasn't like super recent, but they were running fours for a long time.
Oh,
and
sure.
The fact now that there's just a door car that's almost into the fours is pretty freaking incredible.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Hang on. I think Stinson is looking it up for us. 2008 is when they got into the threes? No. Really? It's not even that long ago. Doesn't feel like that long ago.
This is AI overview. So just
Google AI could be messing with us here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does go through and like research a bunch of shit. Anyways, that's crazy. Let's say it is 2008. I mean, my God, it's like what, 16 years ago.
Real quick, Stinson, can you look up when the first 5-second door car was? Because that was the last like big thing for door cars in general, was a 5-second pass.
Yeah.
I want to say it was at Maryland as well.
Really? Hopefully the AI doesn't do us dirty.
no.
He made 3 hits on the track, and I was on the starting line for those passes. And every time
I was going to ask you, because that's like, I was on the top end, but the very, very top end, so I didn't even get to see him go by real quick. But seeing a car leave and just disappear like that had been wild.
he made a solo hit every pass, but the suspense in the air from that whole crowd, just while they were prepping, everyone was standing up. They wanted to see history. They wanted to see the first 4 ever.
Yeah, because like I said, like the last big thing was the first fives, and now we have street cars getting into the fives.
I've heard that name.
2009, it was a 597.
And then I remember when Mark Mickey did it says he holds the that was that door, or the blue car, right? The like square
Malibu.
Yeah, the Malibu blue one.
What if I told you you could get entered for a chance to win this Escalade V plus $20,000 or our cash out option of $100,000, and all you had to do is buy something as small as this sticker, this shirt, this hat, this hoodie, any of the over 300 items we have on our website right now, plus you get 4 entries for every dollar you spend on 1320video.com. This thing has a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 making 682 horsepower, 10-speed transmission, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, 36-speaker system, 24-inch 4-star wheels, and enough room to take the kids to school and enough power to gap just about everything on the streets. So hit that link in the description below, go shopping, get your entries, and you could be our lucky winner.
And what's wild is I realized in the interview when you were talking to him after, he was on track for a 4. His third hit, he was there.
Yeah, and the craziest part was when I talked to him afterwards, he said the car is just so fast and it's so hard to focus when you're flooring it and holding on for dear life basically in that car, especially at Outlaw, which means all the weight's taken out of it. It's going to go as fast as it could possibly go. he was just all crazy. It was all crazy inside the car that he saw the mile an hour cone, I think, or the 1,000-foot cone, and he let it off there and threw the chutes.
And we pulled his pass at the 1,000-foot, 431.
431 at the 1,000-foot, and he let out of it. If he stayed in it, that was easily in the fours, by far easily in the fours. And he let out and did a 511. I'm sure he's beating himself up. He did not get a chance to come out Sunday like he thought he was going to.
Worried about the water in the top end from the rain that morning.
Yep. There was a lot of rain that morning, and then we had rain in the evening, and Jimmy just didn't have an opportunity to get back on that really good track with the amazing air that Maryland always has to run that for. But that car, the math is mathing. That car should be running a 4 next time it goes to the track. Yeah. I hope we're there. I don't know if we will be, but I hope Jimmy does the 4 because that would be epic.
I believe that his overall goal, or one of the things he wanted to do was win that $1 million. He wanted to go to the Winter Series down in Bradenton, and he wants to win all 3 of those.
Which he will drop down a little bit because that car is an Outlaw trim right now.
Right. It's gonna have to add some weight to it.
Okay, but I don't think most of those guys are running 7,000 horsepower. And Bradenton has a pretty decent track and pretty solid prep. So.
That trim might also mean
turbo size goes down
and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just weight.
My bad. Okay.
But yeah, I thought we were going to see a 4 this weekend. I was really hoping for it. It's like to say that we were there for the first 4 and be able to film it, had a GoPro inside the car for every pass, and that would have been so cool. Yeah. But not only did Jimmy Taylor do well, a lot of other people on the property did either personal bests or set world records, just like they do every year at Maryland. And this year, they seem to just drop left and right.
It was, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it was definitely incredible. That's one of the places that everybody talks about wanting to break their records. And like you mentioned with the negative DA, we had Cletus and Lutz. They were kind of partnering up on the radio record there.
They're beating that thing up.
Yeah.
Bad.
So what do we have? Bill Lutz, he ended up with the ET record for radio.
He got the ET record with we had it written.
He had a 568.
568 on a radial. With a big blower in that Camaro, that thing was just moving. And then Cletus took home the mile per hour record.
Yep.
He reset it twice.
Reset it twice while we were there.
261 was the final?
261.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
That is.
And I know radio guys don't do quarter mile all the time, but I've seen it a couple times at World Cup, and they beat up the record pretty good.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys. They're like I said, just more records dropping. There was a couple of stuff. There was a couple things that happened of note that were there. Happened Thursday, and we unfortunately were not there Thursday. We will be there Thursday next year. We did not realize how crazy Q1 was going to be, so that's our bad. We didn't have coverage from Thursday. But just a couple things. Brett ran his first 5.
Yeah.
That's huge. We've been following Brett forever. He did like a 6.0 at Sick Week, I think, in February.
Yeah.
And we thought he's going to run a 5.
He ran a 6.0 last year in the finals at World Cup, too.
Yeah, like he's been right there. I'm like, there's no way he can't run a 5 right now. And I don't know if he was waiting or whatever, but did it at Maryland during Q1 on Thursday. That put him as a number 1 qualifier for his class by far.
It had a 7/10 split.
It was
in the first round of qualifying.
Yeah. Oh my. And I don't even know if I think it got to like half second split by the time qualifying was done. He was out on so many people. So all the rest of his runs, we never saw him do a full quarter mile hit for the rest of the qualifiers. But
just saw him get data.
Yeah, but shout out to Brett because 5 seconds is huge. It wasn't. It's not the first 5-second Coyote car.
No, they've put him in pro mods before.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't even realize when we were down in Florida, he had a FFRE billet block in it.
Yeah, when we were there for FL2K, I don't think they were announcing it, but I did see a shot of them working on the car at FL2K, and someone's like, that doesn't look like a stock block. You just see billet everywhere. And so he's had that motor in for at least a couple of, or that block's in for a couple of events, and finally got it connected and did a 597.
So if you want to go 5s, that means you need to go purchase one of those. What kind of block is that?
FFRE.
FFRE billet block?
Fast
Looks
forward
like you
race
should probably go
engines.
buy one
Seems
of those.
to be.
Looks like they're proven to go 5s. So free shout out to FFRE. There you go, boys. We'll take one of those, or just a built engine.
Hey, we'll
from
put it in something.
Yeah, if you guys would just throw us a built
We could
engine,
find a use for it.
I'm sure we
100%.
could find a use for a built Coyote from that.
Also on Thursday, unfortunately, the Granis and Vlad situation.
Right,
That
right.
was rough.
It was rough for us to watch. I think we were so we weren't going to be there already on Thursday just because timing didn't work out and what we scheduled and everything. But we had to sit there in the airport, delayed 3 hours, and watch all this stuff.
Yeah, we was popping up all over the feed that. I mean, that's super unfortunate, honestly, for both drivers. But it seemed like it was handled probably better than any other, one of those instances I've ever seen. Everyone knows of the track. Someone could lose control. Your car can get crashed into.
Right.
It's a tough situation. Not every time. Most times they just kind of go both ways.
And not always do you have track insurance because that stuff's super expensive. Everyone's like, why don't you get track insurance for your car? Really expensive to do that. Actually.
Extremely.
So not everybody does it. It's a freak thing that accidents or wrecks happen.
Yep.
Vlad's out.
Especially from Granis like that. The car just went dead right. I don't know if we ever figured out if it was fluid or
It was like right on his 1-2.
It was like
it just completely broke out.
I think it was either fluid or something the driver line broke. I don't know if Granis said anything about it, but car went. I didn't know. I'm sure everyone at home has seen it. Car went straight right, went into Vlad's driver's door, and then Vlad's car just erupted into flames.
Fire's some of the scariest stuff that we see for sure.
Yeah, because no matter how long a fire is going, it feels like it takes 10 times longer for the driver to get out. Luckily, Vlad was fine.
Yep.
The car, not so much. But Granis is a very stand-up guy. He's done this a couple times over the little bit with using his merch to fundraise and whatever. But he immediately, while we were at the event, he said, any merch bought on GranisRacing.com, all the proceeds, anything that's more than taxes and whatever, goes straight to Vlad. And he only had that open for a few days and raised $39,000 for Vlad to rebuild his car.
Shout out to Joel and everybody else that supported him because that's actually incredible.
He went through, I don't know if you guys saw the video, he went through exactly how many T-shirts, what style T-shirt they bought, what hoodies were bought, die-cast cars. He went through all of this. Like, this is how many this bought. And people, $39,000 to help Vlad out. And just for anybody that didn't know, that was Vlad's brand new car. Brand new car. He's used to driving, I believe, a silver Supra that's still synchroed, and he was just the king because everyone else is doing it without a clutch pedal, basically all the way down track, and he's doing it. He was still doing it with synchros in his transmission, which nobody else was doing. And this is his new car that I'm sure full on race stick car would have been cool to see it do something cool, but yeah, it just broke or just got in a wreck Q1 there with Granis. Nothing they could really do. I hope the car's rebuildable, and I hope that $39,000 extra dollars goes towards getting them at least on the way. I don't know if it'll fix everything, but on the way.
Granis has said he's in the middle of working on a new car too.
He has. I thought this
teasers.
I thought this was going to be the last event for Orange Man Bad. He might be rebuilding at this point and then building the next car. I don't know, for a future event.
Man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was a lot of fire. Do you think that just then ruptured like the gas tank?
It had to have done something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So Granis went in front of him. Vlad, nothing he could do, ran right into him, and then I think the back end of Granis's car came around and hit Joel in the door.
Well,
and just how much flame came out of it is just ridiculous. Vlad was there for the whole rest of the event. Some guys would have just loaded up and left. Vlad loves racing. Flat out. He was on the starting line, like next to me, when stick cars were coming up for the whole rest of the event. I know he wishes he could be out there.
Yeah.
There's a very cool photo that Vlad posted at the end of the event. Was him, his car that was all wrecked up, and then his wife and kids.
Yeah, I saw that photo. That definitely hits you in the feels. But it's nice with all the safety equipment in today's world that everyone was okay, and they both walked away with no hard feelings. And yeah, that's the
most important.
Pretty powerful photo right there to see.
Yeah,
3 kids and his wife.
Vlad's been into racing for literally ever, but tough break for him, especially on a brand new car. That's so rough. But like I said, hopefully that $39,000 gets him on the way.
Yep.
And we can see that car again in the future, because I know that thing's going to be a freaking rocket when it's done.
Heck yeah.
But also, another thing that happened on Thursday when we were not there. So many things, guys, that happened when we were not there, which I feel bad about. Like I said, we'll be there on Thursday next year for Q1. Victor Alvarez reset the K Series front wheel drive ET record, I believe, with a 781.
Put him in first place for the class too.
Yep, it put him as Q1 for I think the rest of it, or did somebody? Yeah, for it put him in Q1 or put him as #1 qualifier for his class.
And he went through 2 billet blocks this weekend.
Oh my gosh, dude!
He said he's cursed. I went up to him after his. I think he made it to the first round, right? Because he was first qualifier. So then he was ahead, he was winning, and then it blew again. And I went over after he'd come back up to the line because he wanted to come watch racing. He's a racer. That's why he does cool shit at his track. And he just goes, Whitty, I'm cursed. He's like, this track, this event, it hates me. I don't know what it is.
He said that track hates everyone.
Yeah.
He said this event, the track, it just hates everything.
It's crazy. He's like, this does not happen to me anywhere else. He's like, it's just, I don't think that I don't know. There's just so much power coming out of these blocks now. Kind of like with Brian Cummins. He's like, buddy, I've just hit the limit. He's like, my block can't take any more power. He's like, anytime I get to the peak point, it's expanding and lifting the head. And that's what Victor was saying too. He's like, dude, we're just pushing this. He goes, my car's on kill every time. He's like, you're not going to see it on low boost. He's like, I'm trying to win every single time. That car is getting beat.
And he had 2 cars out. He was also running his induction performance Supra.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Going 630s. Still get knocked out first round, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe being on the start line, seeing the 4 quickest classes shaping up, and they're all bottom of the 6s, top of the 5s.
They've just gotten so quick over the years. And going back to what you said about the Hondas making so much power, we're talking like 400 to 500 horsepower per hole.
Yeah.
Okay? If a V8 did that, it'd be 4,000 horsepower. Okay? And 4,000 horsepower in one of those V8s, obviously they can do it, but it's at the limit. And when you think this little 2-liter this K20 is making 1,600 to 2,000, some of those guys are making.
Yeah.
What?
Blows my mind. This is the event that gave me more respect for Hondas. I mean, we started coming to TX or World Cup finals, like 10 years ago, maybe a little more?
2015 was our first year, yeah.
Really? See, so 10 years we've been coming to this event. And, when we first started, you make fun of the Hondas, right? Oh, the Hondas are slow, Hondas are this. Then you come to World Cup finals and you're like, Hondas are kind of scary. I mean, they're back half in these big boy domestic cars, and it is just one of the most incredible things ever because the crowd goes nuts.
Crowd
when that
loves
happens.
it when a import takes out a domestic, and that with
best crowd in drag racing.
With Victor blowing up a couple billet blocks, Stinson looked it up for us. I'm not sure if this is the exact billet block that he uses.
Oh yeah,
but he did he said he used the same billet block for 3 or 4 events, blew it up at Maryland, and then changed it out. The very next pass blew up the next one, and each one of those blocks was $8,000.
Is that with rotating assembly in there too?
That's just the block, buddy. So when we were looking at it, he told me in an interview, he said, yeah, some of these billet blocks can last, 7, 8 passes. So if you're getting 8 passes out of this thing, you're spending $1,000 a pass just for the block, not including everything else that you might tear up. Because when you send a rod to God, it's not just the block that's messed up. A lot of other stuff inside's not happy. So just imagine, I know, do you think the Hondas aren't that cool, but just respect the fact that some of these guys are spending thousands of dollars per pass just to make it down track. Crazy.
With the power those front-wheel drive guys are pushing, they are pushing the limits, and it sometimes seems like they're pushing the limits quite a bit more than some of the other classes, which is, one of the reasons that we had so many oil downs at this event. It wasn't just front-wheel drive.
It wasn't just front-wheel drive, but they have historically been the blame of it. All the blame goes to them because it seems like they have more cars blow up than others. They didn't this year. They had several cars blow up, but other classes of cars blow up as well.
Yeah.
But also this year was new for this year for just extreme front-wheel drive. They did, if the cleanup for your oil down was more than 5 minutes, it was $1,000.
If you had a cast block.
If you had a cast block.
And if you had a billet, how did that change the rules?
I didn't hear anything about
I thought you got a freebie with a billet.
Oh, yeah, you get one freebie, and then the next one was your $1,000.
That could be what it was. I didn't hear anything for sure. If that's what it was, Victor got one for free and then bought his next one, I guess. But yeah, and it was. I remember when some guys hadn't paid their $1,000 yet, and they were calling the next round up. They said, if you haven't paid your fine, they call people out by name. If you have not paid this, come up or we're not going to let you run next pass. So it's like it already sucks to blow up your engine and all your boys have to swap motors. Most of these guys bring backups.
Yep.
But got to swap the motor there, and then on top of it, oh yeah, I got to pay $1,000 because I blew up on track. Not fun.
That's the Honda tax. Right
That is the X front wheel drive Honda tax. It seems like
It is tough. So I'm gonna go on a short little deal here. So we're at World Cup finals. You have the top level vehicles on the planet at this race, okay? So they're the top level because they're pushing their program through the year. They're pushing all their parts. A lot of them are shops themselves, and they're doing R&D on things. They want to be faster. They're trying to get just as much as they can out of their cars. You're going to have oil downs. You're going to have oil downs. You're going to have breakages at all these big events, and there is oil downs and breakages at these events every year. So it's not something like new. Yeah, this year was a little tough, but let's just put it this way. Do you want to go to a bracket race where, and I don't even know, I don't go to bracket races, so maybe there are oil downs there, but let's just say you go to a race where people aren't pushing the limits, they're never trying to go faster, they're not pushing their program, and they're just doing the same thing over and over again. Do you want to watch that? I mean, I don't want to watch that. I would much rather have a few breakages and a few oil downs and watch people break world records, break personal best, put down sketchy passes. You're like, how the fuck did he stay in it? That is just crazy.
We're
Now, of
watching
course-
people push the limits of physics.
Yeah,
what they can
literally
do.
pushing the limits of physics. And I mean, just the of sheer power. It is honestly something special seeing these people get faster every single year. And you're just like, how the fuck did they just do that?
and the rules change every year.
They
Like they
do.
change turbo size, they change all that stuff to limit the cars from to keep the cars competitive between imports and domestics in
Yeah.
the class, but also to change them up. So it's like, well, these guys, we can't have these guys go too fast. So they slow them down or they speed them up depending on what happened last year, depending on new turbo technology. All this stuff is thought into when Jason Miller's putting all the classes together and the tech specifications for all these.
Yeah, they do
classes.
everything they can to make sure that this race is going to run as smoothly as possible, and we're going to have as little amount of oil downs. That was kind of one of the plans with the fine, was to kind of get people more like, okay, we should probably maybe not run it with 2 times boost of what we should be running it at or whatever, you know? So just remember, when you see all these oil downs or wrecks or whatever's going on, do you want to watch boring racing with nothing new happening, or do you want to watch something where there's a little bit of chaos, but you're getting amazing racing and a lot of innovation in the racing world? So
And on top of the innovation and all that stuff, there's so many more records that we have written down here that happened, not just those few.
just list a couple off. Let's see.
Okay, so we got the first full-size truck hit a 5.
Jesus.
Full-size pickup. We saw him break it, and it was into the 6s. And then the next time he broke it, I went to the big end. It was his first 5 in
So
a full-size truck, and that truck could have been LS single turbo 600 horsepower from the look of it.
It looked
Looked
straight.
like a full street truck.
That's
it
why I
looked like
liked
a straight-up OBS street truck. And then I walk out there, I was like, a 5? He's like, yeah, brother. He's like, he was just super excited about it. And I was like, what are you hoping to do for like elimination? He's like, I don't care. He's like, I came here for this. If I get out first round eliminations, I don't care. Running that 5 was just so cool.
Yeah, when you guys said that truck ran a 5, I know they don't really do 8th mile at this race, but I was like, in my head, I was just like, oh, that's pretty quick. And then it really clicked for me that it was a quarter-mile pass, and I was just like, excuse me, what? Like, I just took a photo of that truck, and like you said, pretty street looking.
It does not look like a race truck. It is very obviously a race truck, but that thing, the way they have that thing looking,
Yeah.
it looks like it could be just 650 horsepower OBS, like that you'd see at a Carson Coffee. Or
Yeah,
something.
look at that. See, it's not like, it doesn't have the whole...
The fact that he's going up against the SVO in the same class is just crazy
yeah,
to
right.
me. That was a close race too. He put up
That's
a good
it.
fight.
597, 242.
Jeez. That's wild. What are some of the other ones? that were
Sorry,
pretty
yeah, I was just
impressive?
watching that. I got distracted
you're
there.
good.
The fastest Gen 3 Hemi
Oh my gosh, that
in
demon.
that Demon.
Probably one of my favorite cars there.
And I
That thing
remember
was so clean.
I remember talking to that. First of all, yes, it was. Absolutely. I love that car. But when I was talking to him, when I first interviewed him, and I was like, did you buy this car new? He's like, yeah, I bought it new, brand new, and just kind of had fun with it a little bit. And I was like, did you think it would get to here? It's the fastest Gen 3 Hemi. He's like, no. He's like, this is way bigger than I thought. He had a stacker trailer and like it's full on race car.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
And
It was
it was amazing. And
Yeah.
he was running into the, what was it?
wasn't it like 6.
The 623. I remember the 35, 623.
Yeah, he did like a 635, and then was it a 625?
Passed
and then
his
a
record
623?
twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane.
So he destroyed the Gen 3 Hemi record, and then I believe the Pro Charger was a 121 millimeter.
One of the loudest cars there. I'll tell you that from the start line.
Absolutely. Bill Lutz might have it beat.
Yeah,
that thing was probably
that's the number one car.
That might be a little louder.
I had to switch cameras real quick, actually. Back in the day when we used to come to this event, Bill Lutz was there, and I had a 5D Mark IV, and I could not get a photo of his car because it would send my camera into protection mode.
It's so loud.
It wouldn't take a picture.
The video camera. Every single time Bill Lutz ran, the video camera mid-track, it would kind of go out of focus and come back. Only his car.
He is literally one of
is.
the main reasons I was like, I need a 1DX3. I was like, I don't even need it for an NHRA or anything. I can't go to World Cup anymore because the 1DX3 can shoot through the vibrations and I can get the shot of Bill Lutz.
Just to list a couple of these other ones. Coyote NA record at 825.
That was really cool. I went and talked to him because I was trying to figure out more about that car. So it's voodoo based.
5.2.
Yep, they took a 5.2, punched it out. I think he was 5.3 some change, 13.8 to 1 compression. So bumped it up a lot.
Quite a bit.
He wants to pull weight out of the car. He wants to get into the 7s. He's close.
A 7 with an NA car is just wild to me.
And he took a crank from Germany. A German company made a cross-plane style crank to go into a 5.2. That car sounded so rowdy. And it had a custom intake with like a nitrous hood style scoop, but it had it's like a Ram Air sort of. And yeah, bottom of the 8s with a Coyote motor, which is crazy to me.
Naturally aspirated doing 8s. And some of these cars that we have recorded like that, they're full on race car looking stuff. And none of those cars in the NA class looked very race car.
We saw a record from a Honda. I think it was 908 was the new all motor Honda record that happened there.
And then
almost in the 8s.
That's impressive.
White Rice resets the import radial record 3 times. Almost got it into the 5s himself.
That car's crazy impressive.
I think we already said this. Bill Lutz and Cletus beat up on the radial record, of course. The RB USA record, RB 30, did a 5. Yeah, did a 579.
Well, the purple
233.
Okay.
That car sounded crazy.
And then over in the little BMW world, we did have the first M2 in the 7s. I know we had an M240i. That's the all-wheel drive one. That was in the 7s, I think, at TX2K. The last 2 years, 2 of those got them. But as far as rear-wheel drive, the M2, people like the BMWs these days. Got into the 7s. Pretty impressive.
Speaking of the BMWs, we'll throw the A90 Supra records that were
literally.
We go on for a while about the records, but since you're already talking about it,
yeah.
A90 broke the ET record, and then another A90 broke the mile per hour record.
Yeah.
Monique did a 766 in the A90. That's the ET record.
Okay.
And then Pure Drivetrain Solutions, that green one with the black, did the mile per hour record with 191.
Cool.
You know what? My favorite thing about seeing, I think those 2 cars specifically is those weren't in like the DCT class, were they?
No, limited street.
That's my favorite part because it's always like when those cars come out, like when the GTRs came out and the Supras come out at TX2K and a couple other classes, they have the A90 class, the GTR class, so they get to just like fight with each other.
And it's where they give the DCT guys a sportsman tree.
Yeah, so because you got to guess basically, like when you let off the button, there's a delay on those DCT cars to when they actually launch. So that's why they give them the.
I was watching how these guys were staging. They're actually pretty savvy with it. Their lineup guy would set them to just before pre-stage was on, and then they would wait for the other guy to get pre-stage, and they'd push it straight to full stage, and then get on the factory launch control and get it ready, so they could still be competitive with the Pro Tree, which is pretty cool.
So the crazy thing about that as well is I think there's probably a timeout on the launch control as well. On a car like that, so you can only hold it for so long. You got to get in there and hope the other guy bumps in or whatever. But the fact that those guys are not just sticking in the little DCT class with other guys, they're going to other classes and thinking I can mess with these guys. I'm fast enough to go play with the big boys now. And I hope we see more of those Supras and those BMWs get into those classes because it is cool to see them go fast and everything. But when it's DCT versus DCT, it's almost like. They're going fast. They are still going fast, but seeing those cars go up against like other cars that are just heads up, they have an old school transmission with a trans brake, and they're putting up a good fight. I love seeing that stuff.
Same. Absolutely.
Coleman?
Nick Coleman.
Oh, quickest and
Now
fastest.
Quickest. He's had that record for a little over a year. 6:49. I thought he was going to break it this year, but didn't. He might have, but we got rained out on.
He's
Sunday.
still qualified number 1 with a 6:57 and hold that the whole weekend.
Oh yeah, and like the only other car on the property that was even quicker than that would be a 6:55 on as far as like fast stick cars go, and that was I think the silver Corvette, white Corvette, black Corvette. It was a Corvette. Anyway,
A lot of fast C6s.
but then he broke. So he had that record for over a year. Broke the mile per hour record. I think it's 222.
Yep.
222 miles an hour out of stick car, and it's just that little S10. I sit there in the lanes. I'm just like all these fast, badass stick cars, and this truck is the one that everyone's like, well, he's the fastest.
I know that always blows my mind.
You could bring somebody that doesn't know much about stick racing at all, but still knows some about racing, and be like, these are all the stick cars. Which one's the fastest? I don't think anyone would look at the S10 and be like, that's the fastest. But it is.
Nick Coleman's now the baddest stick car on the planet, period.
He's the baddest stick driver on the planet, period. And we caught this right before the rain out and everything. But on his eliminations pass for round 2 or 3, he blew it up.
Yep. Ran a 699, blew it up.
And then Whitty's rolling through the pits. He's like, hey, we had an oil down, of course. So I had time to go over and talk to him. I got there in the middle of the engine was already pulled. They were transferring stuff over and putting the new motor in, thinking they would have enough time. One stick shift gets called to lanes, which they would have, but the rain came.
They thrashed. Fred and I stood over there, and we kind of just stepped back for a second, and it was like watching a dance. I mean, it was like a well-oiled machine. It was crazy.
You could also tell these guys have done engine swaps on that car and the other cars. They've done this before at events. They're like, we have a backup engine. We have time. Yep. Especially when they had X front-wheel drive up after them. Yeah, they had a little bit of time. That's all I'm going to say.
They were thrashing. I was over there. I photographed the entire process. They got the motor back in, and they fired it up, and that was pretty cool. I mean, at least for me, it's really crazy to see people like work that efficiently. Sometimes you go to a race and something minor happens, like we're done. Bro's like, we're gonna swap the entire drivetrain.
That's a lot of determination.
Like, holy moly!
That's just World Cup, you know. Yeah. You can roll through the pits any given evening or between any round, and you're gonna find at least a couple people with their motors pulled, with 8 dudes with their hands in the engine bay, and they all know exactly what they need to do to make this happen before the next round.
I guess the silver lining is he went on the trailer knowing he's ready for the next event.
There you go.
Yeah,
true. I was like, is there anything different about this engine from the others? No. Identical. It's identical, so it should do everything the exact same. Like I said, did not get a chance to go up there and reset his own record, but he did take the mile per hour record, the new Daza record, which is the 2.5 liter 5-cylinder that goes in the Audis, the TTRSs, the RS3s. Reset that with a 783.
Was that the black one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hank from iRods was out there doing on-site.
So, funny thing about Hank, we've known Hank for years. Hank's awesome.
Yeah.
Hank at iRods is absolutely awesome person. But I went up to talk to him the first couple times. His cars went up to go make passes, and then the third time I went to go talk to him, he saw me coming. And he said, "Last 2 times you talked to me, our cars blew up. So I'm not talking to you right now." It's like I just went, fair. That's fair. Like I'm not gonna whatever. And then his cars, I think after that, his cars, one of them did well and the other one broke. Mm-hmm. And then the next time I went up there, I see him up at the front of the lanes, and I think we're waiting again for an oil down to get done before they send DCT. And I walking towards him. He looks up, we lock eyes, and then he just kind of gives me like a stay away. And I said, I wasn't even walking towards you. I'm staying away from you. But ended up on the very next pass. Thank God I didn't talk to him. Yeah. He broke this. They ended up losing, but he didn't care at all.
Oh, yeah.
783. And I was like, will you talk to me now? He's like, yeah. He was so excited.
I saw that. It was like, so I was watching our video last night, and they raced, and the Audi red lit against the blue GTR.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's what it was.
And so I'm watching this. I see the red light, and then I see them all celebrating, and I'm like, this is going to be really fucking awkward for Fred to be like, hey, you actually lost. But they didn't give a shit about losing. Every one of them was like, we just broke the record. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
I saw that a handful of times on the start line where it wasn't really about who they were racing. It was about if they could get what they came there to do.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
They get their PB or whatever they were shooting for. And like just to throw it out there, guys, we're starting in the morning with DAs that are negative 1,300.
Yeah, that we saw that one of the days for sure.
And then really cold air. The track is on kill. Jason Miller and his team do an amazing job at that event specifically, and other events, I'm sure. But that if you cannot do a personal best at Maryland during import versus domestic, you can't do a personal best anywhere else.
Probably not.
So a lot of people were using that track and using the time, even though it's like, oh, there's no way we're going to qualify for the field. Let's still go up there and just try to see what we can do. I love seeing that stuff.
We had a really eventful weekend for the GSC Motorsports team. They had 3 cars in. Their brand new LC 500 Saki Bomb car, which off the trailer, their first quarter-mile hit ever qualified them number 1, the 568.
Just wild.
Then they chopped it down to a 564, and they held number 1 throughout the entire weekend, won their first rounds of eliminations, took home a trophy. And that was their 3rd time taking home a trophy in 3 years for 3 different cars. Dirty Taco, White Rice, and their brand new car all have a trophy under them now.
That's wild.
Dang, that is one impressive team.
Which unfortunately, Dirty Taco had a bit of a rough.
I was gonna say
Pretty
that
bad
they're
fire.
240 again. Like I said before, reset the import record. Good for awesome for Eric and them. But then, God, just 2 events in a row for Dirty Taco, just having a bad time.
They both happened in front of us.
Yeah, in Florida, Reese was at the top end, and the car went sideways or whatever, and that Starlet somehow missed him and messed up the front end. They had body work done. It wasn't fully painted yet, but they had the car back for Maryland, and that was only a couple weeks ago. And then I was on the big end this time, and then the car just caught fire.
There we go.
Yeah, the car popped and caught fire, and it stopped pretty much right in front of me.
It seemed like it was down there for a while.
Brother, that was so.
It caught fire early too.
The crew, the fire crew at Maryland, very good. They were there very quickly. The only issue was they couldn't spray enough under the car to get to it, and the front clip is one big front clip, and nobody was there with like a releases to take a fastener or whatever. It ended up taking a couple minutes to get the fire out. It wasn't a big raging fire. They didn't lose the car or anything, but it was a fire that these guys could not get to from under the car. So once the crew got down there, they got the clips all done. They got the front end up. They ended up getting the fire out and everything. And I'm sure the car will be back. It wasn't, like I said, not that big of a fire, but shitty way for Dirty Taco to go out 2 events in a row, 2 big events in a row.
Yeah.
Still one of our favorite Toyota pickups we ever see, though.
Oh, 100%.
We love those guys. Those guys always bring cool stuff to the track.
One of the cool moments for me, honestly, was I was taking photos and Jason Miller calls me up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I better answer this. Like, you're at his race, and he calls up. He's like, Scotty, you got to come up to the top of the tower over here. I got on the roof with him, and we kind of talked about how incredible this event is. And he said him and his brother Chris Miller, who's passed away, started this event when they were 19 and 20 years old, which is wild to take a risk like that at that age and then build it into what it is today. And so we're up there and we're overlooking just sold out. It was the first year that all 3 days sold out before the race even
started. Prior to anyone getting there, all 3 days were sold out.
If you showed up without a ticket, you weren't getting in.
No.
And some people were like, what do you mean I can't buy a ticket? It's like they're all sold out.
Yeah, it's like it's already too full. They need a whole nother set of bleachers. I mean, it is crazy. And I got a really cool photo of Jason Miller up there. Like, hey, that
was
check
one
out
of my favorite
event.
photos. Seeing him up.
Yep.
Like, hey, this is my event.
This
I did
what
this.
I built. Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was a cool moment for me. So being able to see that and then being up there and just kind of getting to look all around the pits and Bender Row and the staging lanes and every side of the pits and the stands and everywhere is so full. It was just like, wow. And it's incredible. That's why there's over 20 countries worth of racers that show up to that race.
They've built up one of the best. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, and that's not a joke. It's one of our it's one of the biggest and one of our favorite events we cover all year.
Hands
it's
down.
so well run. Jason and his team put on such a good show, and all the fastest stuff comes out to Maryland.
Yep.
And this was the 29th year that they've been doing it, and so 19 and 20 does not surprise me because Jason's like he's not very old. Obviously, he's what 50.
I think so, somewhere around there.
Somewhere about 50. And like he's out there getting 2 hours of sleep a night because he has to do all the track prep plus run the event. He has so many good people working for him and everything. It's literally
I've never seen a better track crew anywhere.
It's
never.
the best. Like, just for example, someone can oil down from the 60 feet all the way to the top end. We're down 45 minutes to an hour tops. Other tracks, it would take 2+ hours to get cleaned up.
And when I watched, so we weren't at the race for the first day. So when I saw the Joel and the Vlad wreck, as Vlad was coming to a stop, like still rolling, the fire truck was rolling up in there. As it stopped, they're over the wall putting the fire out and shutting the car off. Like, we go to tracks where you're almost like, are they ever going to get there? I mean, they are so fast, which is literally the difference between life and death in some of these wrecks. So shout out to their crew.
Absolutely. They're amazing. We were there for the top-end incident between the Fox body and the rotary record Starlet.
So so unfortunate. And like I didn't realize when it happened that Starlet was the fastest rotary Starlet in the world. You could see all the import guys were like, "Oh no, not that one." I was like, I get it. Like, nobody likes to see wrecks or anything. And both drivers, I don't know if we said it, both drivers were fine. But seeing that car wreck specifically, a bunch of the import guys were like, no.
It was a Fox body with them, right?
Yep, it was Fox body.
in the left, Starlet in the right.
Yep.
And they're going down the track. Fox loses it, goes into the open parachute to the Starlet, which then just yanks the Starlet around, flips it on its roof, and they both do this spinning down the track thing. It was wild.
Cracked the Jersey barrier.
Oh,
how hard it struck it.
Yeah.
Holy
And what I couldn't believe is all that chaos, getting the driver's sword, getting the barrier replaced, getting things cleaned up. We checked timestamps, 18 minutes from 2 cars getting tangled up in the top end to back to racing.
Jason was down there in a tractor himself putting a new Jersey barrier up.
I mean, that's unheard of.
That is genuinely.
There's tracks that would be half your day before they'd have that figured out.
Was that the same? No, there was a different wreck. It's not funny, but there's so many oil downs and wrecks at the same time. I remember a Honda blew up pretty good, and then a Starlet, different race.
Eric Gold.
Yeah, a Starlet locked up the brakes and went sideways, and he wrecked while the Honda blew up.
Yeah, his converter, something blew up underneath, put fluid under. I thought it was the brakes. It actually wasn't. It was, I think the torque converter or something. Something blew up again, and it just put fluid everywhere. I went over to his pits.
Talking in the Starlet.
I went over to Goldie's pits, and there's just fluid all over the windshield, and it was all over the front of the hood, and you could just see it. And it's just unfortunate because I think the past prior, I forget, the torque converter, the bolts broke off.
Oh, I saw that.
Okay, they broke off and they hit me in the feet.
Yeah.
Like, I literally picked up these bolts and I'm just like, like, what? They had a rough weekend, but luckily Eric's okay and everything. So, yeah, that was a bad wreck, or that was a bad race. But let's just say that this is also pretty obscure. Like, yeah, there's oil downs and things will happen at this race, but this is just a bad year. I mean, what do you think? 30 years, like, everything can't be perfect. It hadn't rained out in like over a decade. So
2012 was the last time it rained out. And I will say, everyone can talk whatever they want about X front wheel drive or the cars that blew up or all the oil downs. If we didn't have rain on Sunday, we would have finished the race.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
If it's not because of them, it was the weather.
We were a quarter way into the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So we were chopping it down.
Yeah. We would have, like I said, if no rain would have happened Sunday, we would have been fine.
Yeah.
We can't help with the rain. No one's built a racetrack with a dome over it yet.
No.
We can't prevent this stuff,
Yeah.
But it just
Sometimes it happens.
over 10 years without having to shut it down for rain, not bad. It's been super cold some years.
But it's still raceable.
Yeah, still raceable. Sometimes they did like, all right, we're done for the night because it's 43 degrees. It feels like 35, and that's not a joke. Those are real numbers.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you guys, with World Cup, I've never seen more 6 and 7 second passes in my entire life than going there. The most basic street cars you see are in the 7s.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your guys' favorite cars that you saw go down?
I don't know if I have a favorite car, but I have a favorite kind of moment when I realized that every single car for the 16 cars qualified for Outlaw versus Extreme.
Yes.
Every single car was in the 5s.
Yes.
And then on top of
that,
that, it was like the brake, like you had to make a 597. I believe the truck did a 597, and then he got bumped out. So he was a 5-second car that didn't even make it in the show. And then number 16 broke, or someone broke, and he was able to get back in for the show. But the fact that a car that ran a 5 didn't make it.
That's insane.
Which is crazy.
The most, like, I've never seen a full field. I remember years ago, it's like, oh, 3 cars are in the 5s for Outlaw versus Extreme.
It kept
5
getting more
cars,
and
10
more,
cars.
yep.
Now it's every single car. You got to run a 5 minimum to make it in the show for that. That was crazy.
5 seconds to go a quarter mile.
Pretty crazy. It's every car in that class just beating people up.
That's incredible. I mean, that right there, that wouldn't be happening if we're at a race where people weren't innovating and they weren't pushing the limits. We might see less oil downs, but you're never going to see that. Like, we might still just have 3 or 4 cars in the 5s in that class.
Oh, I still,
every car.
I still very much think that that's one of my favorite and one of the best events we cover all year. I don't care that we didn't get to finish it.
No.
That the amount of talent that event brings out.
I'll be back and I'll be excited to be there. Tell you that for free.
1,000%.
I'd been there the last 3 years spectating it.
I was going to say,
yeah.
so Reese he's not new to import versus domestic. He's been to a lot of the races we've been to covering. He just has been there as a spectator before. But what was the difference between being there as a spectator in the stands? I don't know what side you were on, but in the stands to being compared to you're standing right next to him.
It's night and day. I'll tell you, the rotary cars are very spicy.
Oh, brother,
Right next to
I wish we would have thought to give you a pep talk or something, because that's the worst event of the year. It's like, because every rotary car they're so inefficient that you're just getting hit in the face with just straight fuel.
Yeah, squinting, checking where the exhaust path is, the wind direction. You're like, all right, I gotta get over here a little bit.
And like my trick for that, anybody at home wants to stand right next to a rotary car before it launches. I close one. I take one big breath before they launch, and I close one eye. Because if the other eye gets hit with like spicy gas,
You could
I could
switch.
at least open the other eye and it's fine.
That's a good idea.
I'm not even joking. Once it gets to like the 60 foot, most that those exhaust fumes are
Yeah.
gone, so I can just open the other eye and watch what I'm filming going down track.
Reese was kind of crying a little bit after some of those passes.
Oh, I bet.
he
Just trying to-
dude.
I bet.
It was emotional, but that also got to me.
I was watching those videos last night. I'm editing the photos, and I just had our videos playing. And there's a few times Reese turns the camera. He's, that's some spicy gas. And there's like tears going down his eyes. And I'm like, I feel you, buddy.
What you didn't see were some of the takes that couldn't go in the video because he had to stop talking.
It's like I got maced.
He's like,
Oh my gosh.
that's crazy. Yeah, no, those are some spicy. Oh, we did see the fastest 13B RX-7 pass ever.
Yeah.
For the rotary people, that's probably pretty exciting. I mean, that's like we can just go on forever with the amount of records.
And that's just records. That's not even, we're not even getting to personal bests.
Yeah.
There was, and just about everyone we talked to was getting personal bests out there. It was just ridiculous. And then one of my favorite things at a big race like that, especially with so many people in the crowds,
Yeah.
is having a staging duel. There was a couple of them.
Yep.
Mullet had one with James.
Yeah.
James Tall and Mullet had one.
I was getting worried for those boys because the track official right in the middle was giving them the count. Like, hey, if you don't bring this car in, this race isn't going to happen. So Cleet ran up.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
like, James,
Go, go,
get
go.
in there.
Yeah.
That's because Cletus has seen it happen to where they did. There was one year.
It was in
It was
the
an American flag.
It was in the semifinals. I believe it was Haley. She's got
An
the.
American flag Fox body.
I can't remember her last name to save my life right now.
Haley versus, was it another, who was
I
it?
think it was a Honda.
Yeah. So they wouldn't stage.
But this was that we were very close to finishing the race, and if you go over curfew, it's like $10,000 for Jason to have to pay, and we were already gonna be over curfew, and they decided to have the staging duel at the worst time.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm sure Cleet knew, hey, we need to send him because we're running out of time.
Yep.
If it was any other race, probably would just let him sit there and stage duel. But they knew rain was coming, so they had to do something. But at the same time, watching two guys just be like, I'm not going. I'm not going to be the first one to go in. And then they're sitting there for, could be over a minute, over
Motors
2
getting
minutes.
hot, tires are getting cold.
The motor's getting hot. The tires are getting super cold. They might as well have just not done a burnout at all. And all of a sudden,
Fans are
both you
getting loud.
both you guys, like, you can't change your tune-up now. You can't just hit a button and be like, well, I need to go leave on less power now. It's like, no, you can't do it. It's just like when both guys are that stubborn, it's kind of funny to watch. And then after I don't know how many, 20 seconds, the crowd starts to get into it. They're all cheering and stuff. And then that makes the race, that just builds the anticipation for that one race so much bigger.
Yeah, the vibe is crazy when that happens. I know Vic also got into a staging duel. Victor Alvarez. I saw him post up on Facebook. He's like, if you're doing a staging duel, is it a staging duel or are you burning someone down? He's like, I think it was just fun. He's like, I think we're having a great staging duel. And so people are kind of discussing, are you burning the other guy down? Are you having a staging duel?
So there's different people that have different terms for that. I consider staging or burning someone down is when you let them stage and then you swear to God, you count in your head 7 seconds before you even attempt to bump in.
And
That
they're
way you
already on
barely make it
two-step.
under there and you know that other guy's been on the trans brake for 12 seconds.
Yeah,
That's, in my mind, is burning someone down.
that's fair.
When you're doing a staging duel, it's just a staging duel.
Yeah, they're both just sitting there.
Yeah.
So that's fair. Yeah, it is definitely a fun thing that we get to see at World Cup.
So the car that won front-wheel drive took the trophy home as the remaining highest qualifier was the number 2 316 car. And I know you saw them in the burnout box. They couldn't get it started.
They got so lucky.
Oh.
They got so incredibly lucky. So for anybody that didn't know how they did, like Bree said before, we got done in the quarterfinals, they called it. And what the process was the car that had the highest qualifier that was still in got the trophy. That's how that worked. Like I said, that 316 car, luckily, or they couldn't get it started to roll into the burnout box. They could not get the car started. It sounded like it had no fuel, just nothing. And then the pass before them oiled down the track. They got super lucky. It oiled down the track, and now all of a sudden they had minutes to look at it. Victor comes over. He's not even part of their team. Starts helping them out. Other front-wheel drive guys that aren't anymore comes to try to help them out. Like, it's a big family there. They're like, we want to see these guys race. I don't know what it eventually ended up being the problem. They could spray like starter fluid directly into the turbo and in the intake, and the car would run. But it was like the fuel pump wasn't working or something like that. And their little gas tank was right in the engine bay there, so they could see it. I don't know what they did, if it was a fuse thing or what it was. They didn't put any more fuel in it, but eventually got the car started, and they got it rolling, and then they look up, and they're still cleaning up the track. So I was like, well, now they got to shut it down because the car's going to get hot. But luckily, next time they went to go start it, everything was fine.
Oof.
That was a worrisome moment.
Literally, I was like, if they didn't have an oil down the pass prior, they would have been out, and they would have not taken home the trophy or anything.
And they got to take home, too. Their R8 and DCT.
Oh,
So
very nice.
Couple cups for them.
There was some instances where that worked out the complete opposite way, actually. There was a couple of the domestic cars. I can't remember specifically, but I remember there was 2 or 3 over the course of the weekend where they'd be up getting ready to run, and then an oil down would happen in front of them, and then they'd go to start again, and it just wouldn't start.
Battery would be dead or something.
Something would
that.
be happening, and I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine you're about to run and you just wait there, and then everything's fine, and then boom, now your car just doesn't work. You're just done. You're just done.
I think it was 295 Hot Rod, Eric Hendricks, and the 5.4 mod motor Fox.
Okay.
They went to fire up. They were supposed to make their eliminations pass. Then they called it. They said, hey, we need to look at something on the track. Went to start it again. They had to push it out. He
That's
lost because the car wouldn't restart.
I would be throwing my steering wheel across the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's nothing that he did. It's just like the car sat there and just something wasn't happy.
That's the
gotta suck.
toughest way to go out possible.
That's tougher than how we saw a lot of people go out Sunday, which was red lights. I can't believe how many red lights we saw on Sunday. It was like they had been used to qualifying and not having to cut a tree, and all of a sudden they're all nervous during qualifying. This big crowd's there,
Yeah.
and so many red lights. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, red lights do suck, especially when you're like, you don't see it at first. And then I'm like, oh my God, he won. And then everyone around me is like, nah, dude, he red lit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, shit. Well,
What else? Oh, I do have to say this. There was an MR2 there on the property. It was a black one. And I'm used to seeing every single MR2 that we see nowadays. I just assume it's K-swapped. I just pretty much assume it because that's what they are. I walk up to the engine bay on this car because we were in an oil down, so I had time to actually go look at it. I was like, that's not a K-series, that's not a K-series valve cover. What's going on here? Went to go talk to the guy. It was still the Toyota engine that would come in those MR2s, and he ended up becoming I think the quickest one that's still Toyota powered with a 788. When I
That's pretty
talked to him
cool.
before the pass, he's like, we've been broken. We've been like stuck at 8.0s. He's like, it's like a bracket car at 8.0s. We change stuff, still does 8.0. Has issues, 8.0. Great pass, 8.0. He's like, I was like, so what are you hoping for? He's like, I don't know, it's 8.0, I guess. And then goes up there, and he's like, 7's by the end of the week for sure. Goes up there and runs a 7.88. Beats his previous time by 0.2.
That pass was hairy. He was using his whole lane. to
Oh
get
yeah,
down
he
the
was all
track.
over the place, but he was so stoked to be running a 7.
That's
World
the
Cup
same car
finals.
that got up on the wall the next night.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
wild.
crazy. Did a bat wheelie and then just landed on the wall.
Yeah, same car during, I believe it was eliminations, went and did a wheelie.
Oh, here we go.
Is this his record pass or the wheelie? Pass?
He wheelied left and big wheelie to hit the wall. He thought that he
Gets
needed to get back into
in
it, so
it.
he got back in it. And would he run out the back door? What was the mile per hour?
Right, 8-0.
No, the mile per hour.
Oh, fucking
100
12.
was that 100?
159, I think.
That's crazy.
158, 159.
And the car was squirrely
And
the whole way down.
what sucks is the Honda next to him broke. So he didn't even have to do all that.
Yeah.
But the Honda moved on because he touched his own wall, which I did not know was a rule at this race specifically. It's not a
Same.
rule at every race, but
No.
because he touched his own wall, he was out right there.
Usually your own wall is considered part of your lane. If you go over the line in the middle, I get it. You're out.
Hey, but Jason has his rules for a reason.
Everyone has different rules. I was actually very shocked. I was like, that's his fucking wall. He should have kept going.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that
The
car
no
keep
prep
going.
cars we cover are a little more rowdy.
Yeah, I guess
A little
they're
more
allowed
all
to
over the
use the
place.
wall.
I've never seen a car hit the wall that strongly and then just get full on back into it. He's like, no,
Same.
I need to beat this guy. It's
Same.
like you beat him by a good, half the track or 3/4 of the track because the other guy just like literally broke right on the line and kind of putted.
Dude hit the wall, and then he ended up driving after he was already 10 feet back on the track. That's when the photographers finally got up and moved. If you go back and watch that, they don't move until like way after he's hit the wall. I'm like, you guys do realize that, like, if he had went over the wall, you're just done. Like, watch this. Comes down, hits the wall. Now the guys get up off their chair.
Off the stool.
Well, I sure hope some of those guys got at least decent shots of the undercarriage of the car.
You hope.
I mean, if they didn't move.
Golly.
Well, why weren't you there getting that shot?
Well, because I was on the other side of the track.
Sounds like a bad place to be. When
It was. No, I'm shit. I was actually pretty pissed. And I think that a lot of the anger of him not being able to move on was because I was mad I wasn't going to get another wheelie shot. I was just mad at myself. Everything comes back to me being shit.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, Woody, don't beat yourself up too bad about it. Jeez.
There was two cars that caught my eye. Was a like mid 2000s Charger with a fiberglass front end on it and a Chrysler 300C.
Oh god, those not traditional race cars that we see at
Both
tracks.
pitted together.
Looked like a streetcar takeover cars.
Yeah.
And they still had SRT motors. It was a 6.1 Hemi in the Chrysler 300 and a 6.2 in the Charger. And they were both in the mid 7s.
It was crazy.
Big body cars like that shouldn't be running sevens.
I couldn't believe it. And the GTO. But a GTO doing
GTO,
60s.
GTO was a 540 Pontiac-based motor. Nobody runs Pontiac. In case you guys
cool.
at home didn't know, nobody runs Pontiac motors. If they have a race car Pontiac, it's got a Chevy motor in it. 9 times out of 9.
What year
okay?
was that car? 'Cause it was-
65. It looked just like
so good.
Richard Guido's GTO.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just
but-
some nitrous on top.
Yeah, just a little nitrous on top, and he was trying to run 750s.
He was in the 760s.
He was in the sevens with it.
And he was another car that qualified 17th, but became in as an alternate for the 16 that broke. So he made it to eliminations.
Lucky duck. on that
Unfortunately,
one.
did not have enough spray for the number one car.
Yeah, well, if you qualify 16, you race number 1. If you
But make
qualify
it to-
15, you race number 2, and so
That
on.
car being in the eliminations at World Cup is a huge accomplishment in itself.
Oh yeah, if you qualify, you get a sticker that says "official badass" or like something like that, and those stickers are a big deal.
They are.
For how many cars that show up for some of those classes, to say that you qualified for the show alone is huge.
Yeah, just to even get into this race. I don't know if we mentioned it, but you can't just come to this race. Like, you have to be accepted in because of the times, and you have to show them like multiple time slips. Just,
Over a certain time period.
Yeah,
Like within the last year, you had to have done
Yeah.
stuff.
Like there's a lot that it
They
takes
vet
to
every
be
car
here.
that goes on the track.
Yeah. So it's a huge deal to be here, and then you get to qualify and you make it in. I mean, and that car isn't tubbed out. It's not stripped. I mean, it's
It looks
It
like
is
a
a
street car with a
street car.
parachute. It looks like
It's
it
freaking
reminded me so
awesome.
much of Richard Guido's car.
Man, it looks like a drag and drive car. It's awesome.
I will say one thing that did impress me quite a bit. I don't know if it was my favorite thing that happened that weekend or whatever, but to see Cletus and the crew run 4 cars.
That
Now
was
I know it's Cletus ran 2 and James ran 2.
Yeah.
So it's not one guy running 4 cars, but one team running 4 cars was ridiculous because
And all 4 made it.
you would have made it into the show, which is wild as well. Like you brought 4 cars and all of them made it in the show. That's crazy. I remember one time it was Mullet was running, so James was driving.
Yep.
And then the very next class was the class McFlurry was in. So Cletus basically sat in the driver's seat of the car to push McFlurry up to the front, and then as soon as they were next up to go into the water box, James shows up because he had just run.
Oh my God.
They switched
Just keeps
positions.
the suit on.
They just kept the suit
Yeah.
on. Cletus helped him get strapped in, and then he ran McFlurry right after that. And then I was like, so both of you guys are running double duty right now. He's like, yeah, I can't even watch the McFlurry pass. Actually, I got to go get suited up in Leroy right now. He literally was sitting in McFlurry just till James got there, and then had to go get in the other car.
That's impressive.
And then you got to think they had other guys that I hadn't seen before working on like Eagle, of course, because it's like a full-on pro mod. That's a wild
I think
car.
one of them's name is Cameron. I kept hearing that name.
Yeah, Cameron, I think, built the car.
Yeah, he
That's
knows what he's
CJRC.
doing.
Yeah, that's CJ Race Cars.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
That's his.
I was gonna say anytime someone mentioned them, like Cameron's over there, so it'll be fun.
had to
And I
do
was like,
some,
oh, this dude must be really
Had
good.
to do some window repairs on that car.
Yeah, Cletus
That was
blew,
hilarious.
Cletus blew the window out of his car, and then I asked him, I was like, so what's going on there? He's like, Cameron's here, I'm good. And I was like, oh, he was 0% worried about it. He ended up going to 1320 Fabrication, open up their shop to Cameron, and they helped him out, and he put the door back together, and it didn't look perfect, but I was like, I wouldn't have noticed a difference.
And it was funny. You asked Cletus, you're like, so what went wrong with the window there? He goes, so Fred, this window here specifically is rated about 258 miles an hour. I went 259, so we did find the limits. It's unfortunate, but Cameron's here, so we're gonna be good.
Yeah,
I
Cameron's just
laughed out
holding
loud.
the window. It's like the frame of the window is all bent up and stuff. He's like, we're good. I was like,
Yeah.
but like I said, to have 4 cars and they all qualify and they all did well, especially like breaking records and personal bests and stuff like that. Pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
It was cool to see Mullet back out for the first time in a while.
Yeah, they
like
had
that
it in the
car.
shop being worked on for a little bit. I think they're.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. I don't know if you guys saw, they had this piece of paper that was like taped to the side of the car, and it had like all the checklists and all the things they still need to do and had been doing. I got a cool photo of that, and I thought it was just neat because you could like see the whole process of
Nice.
building it. So
Heck yeah. Well, anything else of note, boys?
there was one more instance that I had that I enjoyed. It was this Honda, and he blew up on the first day, or on the second day.
Was that the all-wheel drive one?
It
Was it white with carbon front?
No, it was white with like some geometric shapes on it. It was like blue and green
Okay.
and stuff. Anyways,
That one also blew up.
there's a lot that blew up.
You're not. I'll let him finish
Yeah,
this
I was a
story.
little vague saying the Honda that blew up. But so this Honda goes up there, blows up. I go over to the pits later, and they're swapping motors. They have billet blocks and everything, and they're over there thrashing, getting it ready. The next morning, they go out, and I was talking to him that night, and he said that he's been wanting to hit a 7. He's been trying to hit a 7 for 6 years, okay? So he's been really, really working at this. And he's like, man, I blew up the block. Now I got to put a new one in. He's like, hopefully I can at least just qualify. He's like, I just want to make it into the show. And so I'm talking to him and everything, and he's like, I'm probably not going to hit a 7. I was like, you will. And I was weird. I was just like, you will. I'll see you up there when you hit that 7. I was doing, I was just like, you're going to hit a 7. So the next day I go out, I'm on the top end, just one of the times I decided to be down there. Here comes this car, parachutes out. I'm like, oh, I'll take some photos. He gets out, and I start to hear that he had just hit his first 7. He gets out of the car, he's crying. There's a lady that runs over and a guy that runs over. They're hugging and crying. We end up talking to him, and his sister flew in from Iowa. His brother flew in from Oregon, and they happened to be there to celebrate with him. And he had hit his very first 7-second pass. And I got to be down there to kind of experience that. And one of my favorite things, and I know one of Fred's favorite things, is being on the top end when someone breaks a record and being able to experience that emotion with them. Or with Fred, he gets to tell him that record.
That's literally my favorite part of the whole job. is
Yeah.
when if they don't have like a walkie in to the starting line, they don't know what they ran. Walk up to them, be like, how was the pass? Just like, I know exactly what they just did. And
Start with it modest.
Yeah, I love starting modest. Like, how do you think the pass was? And almost every time, like, so many racers will tell you this, when everything goes perfectly and is really fast, it feels slow because everything went right. And if it feels fast, they know it wasn't the record or what they were shooting for. Like they feel like that. And I was like, how was the pass? And they'll be like, it was all right. What'd I run? I'll be like, it was a 5.99. I'll just say it real blunt. And they'll be like just freaking out. And it's like, it's my favorite part of everything I ever film is being at the top of Maryland, at the top end of the track, telling someone that they broke a record at a PB.
Yep.
You get their genuine human reaction to hearing that news, and you feel like you're part of this whole experience of them working so hard to get there. And I just feel honored to be able to film them, and they have the footage of them getting that reaction of hearing that number.
And some of those people never show that emotion. Maybe their friends and family don't even see that. And you get to see this person at peak happiness, like just they may never feel that way again in their life, and you get to be a part of that. That's fucking sweet.
And I'm on the big end, and I'll tell them that they're super excited. And then when their crew shows up, like a minute or two later, they get a whole new level of excitement because all these people that have worked the car with them or lived with them, that saw them work on the car till 4 o'clock in the morning for the past years or months, see this person accomplish something is the best thing in the world. It's my favorite part of everything we do here at 1320.
Remember Giddy? When you got to see him at the top?
When he broke the GTR record, ran a 654. Ran a 654, and he was like, it's amazing.
It was one of my favorite things to watch.
Yeah.
World Cup Finals, baby.
Yeah. We did a whole episode on World Cup Finals because there's just so much to talk about. There's stuff we didn't even get to because there's so many PBs, records, stuff that we don't even know that happened until days later. We're like, oh, shit, that?
There was too many records to keep up with. It was crazy.
It really was. And like I said, there was the oil downs and everything, but we would have got done. Don't blame any of this that we didn't get done on the track crew or Jason or anything.
No, they're the only reason we got as far as we did.
Don't blame it on Extreme Front Wheel Drive. Like, they get a lot of hate, but they didn't blow up, I don't think, any
Plenty
more
of other cars are blown up, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, if it didn't rain, we would have finished. And that's all you can really blame it on is Mother Nature. But that's going to do it for this episode of Talkin' Shift. Hope you guys liked it. And if you guys have any moments you liked from World Cup Finals, drop them below and let everybody know about them.
Heck yeah.
But we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Later.
Peace.